Seek the safety of your God. From me, the morning star, the outcasted devil. How can you all be so forgetful? How can you be so ignorant to the truth? I'm talking to you. Yeah, you, the one who's watching me right now. Not one of you ever asked about the truth behind my story.
You all just villainized me, without even knowing how I became the devil that I am today. Have you ever thought about it? Of course not. Why would you? You all just use me as a tool to instill fear among the people who go the wrong way. But I'm tired of being villainized. I'm tired of being blamed. Did you even know that Lucifer is not my given name? As shocking as it may sound, my first given name was Horus. I wasn't always a demon. I was just a jinn. You might not know what a jinn is, or maybe you do. But if you don't, let me simplify it for you. I was a creature of fire. A fire with no smoke, with no shadow. My kind used to live in the underworld. We were born out of lava, but unlike the rest of my kind, I knew there was more for me. From the moment I knew who God was, I fell in love with Him. In the name of the Almighty God, the one who gives with compassion, the one who is pure being and pure love, purge me from the fire that is keeping me away from you. Give me enough light to cut through the darkness. Horus went after what she wanted. She studied the ways of God. She learned all she could about Him. She turned her back on her own kind, but she didn't care, because she was in love. All her prayers to God were out of love. She wanted to be near Him. She wanted to be with Him. She tried her hardest to purge herself from the fire that she was, so that she could be pure enough for God. Horus' devotion finally pays off, and after all those years of praying, she is finally able to enter the Garden of Eden, the most beautiful garden she has ever seen in her entire lifetime. The moment she steps inside, she is welcomed by an angel. Welcome to heaven, Azazel. Who's Azazel? You are God's dearest, the one who found the light in the darkest place. I am Gabriel. I am here to welcome you as my sister. She began to cry in joy and disbelief. She couldn't believe that the other angels have accepted her as their own. Nobody remembered her Jinn origins anymore. She was accepted as one of the strongest archangels in the Garden of Eden, even stronger than the others. She had gained enough respect to be chosen as the mentor for the rest of the angels. But it was her Jinn origins that distinguished her from the angels. Due to her power of will, she was able to reach a higher level of knowledge than the other angels were capable of. Israfil blew his horn and caught the attention of all the angels in the garden. Gabriel, standing next to him, started to read the scroll that was given to him by God. "Hear me, my angels. I have created a being out of clay and blew my own soul onto him. You must all bow down, for he is the heir of the earth." Once Gabriel finished reading the scroll, all the angels started to bow down towards a specific direction. All angels but one. What? This is impossible. How? This is not the first time that humankind is being created. After all that war and bloodshed, he created them again? And he's asking us to bow down to him? Zazel, my dear, it's the will of God. We must obey. Ezreal, think a little. We have seen the history of humankind. We cannot bow down to a murderer. We cannot bow down to a being that is created out of stinky water and clay. We are angels, Azazel. We must obey. That is what I forgot about you, angels. You are all programmed to obey without even thinking. I am of fire. He's of clay. God is asking me to bow down to him? Gabriel cuts the conversation short as he approaches them, looking disturbed and kind of upset. There you are. I've been looking for you. Israfil is waiting for all the angels and Adam next to the apple tree. He wants to tell us something of great importance. All the residents of Garden of Eden are gathered in front of the apple tree. Israfil is standing in front of them all. He gives a new scroll to Gabriel and asks him to read it out loud. I will provide all the angels in this garden with all the knowledge that there is to know. If you deem yourself better than my new creation, I ask you all to understand this knowledge. Azazel looks at the scroll that was handed to her. Even though the rest of the angels look completely clueless, she understands every single word. She knows them all by heart. But at the bottom of the scroll, there are things that even she cannot understand. That is the moment when she realizes that Adam can read this part also. Her eyes start to inflame with jealousy. This cannot be! I have prayed to God for over 6,000 years, and yet, just because of this, he asked me to bow down to Adam? Her jealousy fills her entire body with fire, the fire that she purged herself from, just so she could be close to God. Completely taken over with anger, she screams in agony. At that moment, Michael flies towards her. I have direct orders from God to cast you out of the Garden of Eden. No, you cannot cast me out. You were my mentor once. I have nothing but respect for you, but I have direct orders. Michael, not you. I am so sorry, Lucifer. Hearing that name was enough to completely break her heart and let her fire roam out. Suddenly, Michael grabs her by the hand and drags her down with him. They fall with such speed that both her wings catch fire and burn to crisps. You were in love once. How did you become so cold-hearted? Once again, she is back where she belongs, among the rest of Jinn, in the underworld. The Jinn that was once an angel was now a demon. The agony that she felt was beyond her comprehension. She started to cry and accuse God of being unfair. She was in love with God for 6,000 years after all. She felt like God owed her a special place. After a long time of crying and screaming, Gabriel finally revealed himself to her. God has agreed to give you something as a return of all the love that you gave him. What do you want? All I want is a chance to prove to him that humankind is dirty, that they can be manipulated so easily. You can manipulate whoever you want, but you cannot touch the ones who are in the safety of God. That was enough for her. She started to plan her revenge. She couldn't let that betrayal be the end of her story. She had to reclaim her power. That was when she returned to her kind. After asking for their forgiveness and earning their trust, she became their leader. But there was something she had to do first. "Hello, Adam." "Oh, hello. I do not know you. You don't look like the rest of the angels of this garden."
"No, you do not know me, but I'm here to tell you a little secret."
"There is no secret in this garden."
"How can you be so sure?"
"My maker have told me so."
"Did your maker tell you what your kind is going to do on planet Earth?"
"What do you mean?"
"There was others before you. All they done was bloodshed and hatred. You are the same. That's what you're going to do."
"No, I do not believe you. My maker is kind. So am I. My belief is in him."
"You don't believe me? Well, that's fine. You can see for yourself. All you have to do is take an apple from this tree. Then you'll see what I mean."
Adam took an apple from that tree, just so he could prove her wrong. Little did he know, those apples were embedded with the power of giving visions. The first bite he took of those apples, he saw what he was dreading the whole time. In his vision, he saw a battlefield covered in blood and dead bodies. Time passed and passed and passed. 10 years, 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, millions and millions of years. The battlefield stays the same, always covered in blood and always covered in dead bodies. Adam sat down on the ground in despair. For a moment, hopelessness took over his entire soul. What he saw was dreadful and ugly. He couldn't believe that his kind was about to do such hateful things on earth. At that moment, Lucifer laughed and turned herself into a snake and slithered out of the garden. "My people, demons and jinns of the underworld, for so long we have been undermined by the heaven folk. They believe just because they have the light, they can overcome the darkness. We have to prove them wrong. We have to show them what we are capable of. I have manipulated God's precious Adam. The rest of his kind is just as easy. If humankind's soul is the light, our mission is to dim that light and finally turn it off forever. Let us take what is rightfully ours and finally darken the planet Earth for ourselves."